to each and everyone. We are the Group 3 and we are here to discuss with you Lessons 5 and 6. For Lesson 5, we have Animal Adaptations, and for Lesson 6, we have Weather and Climate. To start with, let's first define what is adaptation. Adaptations are unique characteristics that allow animals to survive in their environment. Types of adaptation. Anything that helps an organism survive in its environment is an adaptation. It also refers to the ability of living things to adjust to different conditions within their environment. Number 1. Physical or structural adaptations are body structures that allow an animal to find and consume food, defend itself, and to reproduce its species. Physical adaptations help an animal survive in its environment. Physical or structural adaptation involves some part of an animal's body, and these are teeth, body coverings, and movements. Protective coloration. Coloration and protective resemblance allow an animal to blend into its environment. Another word for this might be camouflage. Their camouflage makes it hard for enemies to single out individuals. Examples of animals that uses protective colorations are owl, putu, and nightjars. Mimicry. Mimicry allows one animal to look, sound, or act like another animal to fool predators into thinking it is poisonous or dangerous. The viceroy butterfly uses mimicry to look like the monarch butterfly. Owl butterfly mimicry. Eye spots on wings resemble owl eyes. When the butterfly spreads its wings, the eye spots may scare predators. Chemical defenses like venom, ink, and sprays are also types of or examples of protection or protective.
Hello everyone, I am Jamaica Hosoy and I am going to discuss about behavior adaptations. Behavior adaptations include activities that help an animal survive. Behavior adaptations can be learned or instinctive. Social behavior and behavior for protection. Social behavior, example, that being socially ultimately increases animals' fitness or it is a lifetime reproductive success. While the behavior protection, example, a mother dog not only nurses her puppies but she also washes them with her tongue and protects them from strange people or other animals. We can divide behavioral adaptations into two groups, the instinctive behaviors and learned behaviors. Instinctive behaviors, these behaviors happen naturally and don't have to be learned. So, example, a bird migrating before the winter season. While the learned behaviors, these behaviors must be taught obtained by interacting with the environment and cannot be passed to the next generation except by teaching. So, examples by watching the mother ducks, baby ducks learn how to avoid danger and to know what is good to eat. Migration. This is when behavioral adaptation that involves an animal or group of animals moving from one region to another and then back again. So, animals migrate for different reasons. First, better climate, better food, safe place to live, safe place to raise young, and go back to the place where they born. Hibernation. This is deep sleep in which animals' body temp droops and body activities are slowed to conserve energy. Example, bats, woodchucks, and bears.
In this part of the discussion, we will learn about the concepts of weather and climate. When we talk about the weather, it pertains the state of the atmosphere in a certain place and time in terms of heat, dryness, sunshine, wind, rain, and others over a short period of time. Meanwhile, climate is the weather condition existing in an area in general or over a long period of time. The condition usually occurred at 30 or 35 years. The difference between them is weather refers to short-term atmospheric conditions while climate refers to long-term changes. Furthermore, there are four elements of climate, namely temperature, humidity, precipitation, and pressure, and also there is wind. When we say temperature, it simply tells how hot or cold is the certain place. The measurement of temperature may be expressed through the use of Fahrenheit or degrees Celsius scales. Then humidity is the amount of water vapor present in air. Humidity is also important element to determine the probability of precipitation, and the precipitation simply defined as rain, snow, or hail. The kind of precipitation depends only to the temperature of a certain place. The last one is the pressure and winds. The main relationship between the pressure and the wind is the greater the difference in air pressure between the 2 points, the steeper is the pressure gradient and greater is the speed of the wind. Meanwhile, latitude, altitude, and distance from the sea are also the factors affect the climate. In what way? The relationship between latitude and temperature around the world, as the temperature are typically warmer approaching the equator. Meanwhile, colder approaching the poles. In terms of altitude, when a place are located at a higher altitude, it experiences colder temperatures and lower air pressures, but if the place is in lower altitude, there is hotter temperature and higher air pressures. While the distance from the sea effects in terms of coastal locations tend to be colder in summer and warmer in winter than places inland at the same latitude and altitude.
In coastal areas, winters are mild and summer are cool. In inland areas, winters are cold and high temperatures in summer. So this means that oceans heat up and cool down much more slowly than land. This means that coastal locations tend to be cooler in summer and warmer in winter than places inland at the same altitude and latitude. The prevailing wind system over the Philippines are as follows: the northeast monsoon and the southeast monsoon. Northeast monsoon, or what we call here in Philippines amihan, is a cool and dry northeast wind coming from Siberia and China and blows down to Southeast Asia. This season is characterized with slight to moderate rainfall and prevailing cold wind that affects the east of the Philippines. It prevails from November to February, while southeast monsoon or habagat usually bring great amounts of rain. It prevails during the month of July, August, and September. So let's move on to the climate types in the Philippines. There are 4 climate types in the Philippines. The first type is two pronounced season. One dry from November to April and the other wet during the rest of the year. Second type, no dry season, with a very pronounced maximum rain period from November to January. The third type is seasons not very pronounced, relatively dry during from November to April and wet during the rest of the year. Maximum rain period is not very pronounced, with a short dry season lasting only from 1 to 3 months. The fourth type, rainfall more or less evenly disturbed throughout the year. So let's move on to the climates of the world. There are 3 climate types of the world: the tropical climate, middle latitude climate, and polar climate. The first is tropical climate. Tropical climate located within 30 degrees above and below the equator. It is where the sun is nearly overhead at noon. In the belt of doldrums, rain is abundant all the year through. Examples in these tropical climate countries are India, Mexico, South America, and also our very own Philippines. The second is middle latitude climate. Middle latitude climate located between 30 degree to 65 degree latitude. It is where the average temperature is 10 degrees Celsius or higher. It lies in the belt westerlines. Example in these middle latitude climate countries are Korea, Japan, and Mongolia. The third one is polar climate. It is close to the poles. The sun is not seen, bringing winter for as long as 6 months. In summer, the sun rays that reach it are gently slanted and has therefore less heat. Example in these polar climate countries are Canada, Norway, Finland, and Russia.